Right, I'm just making a quick video about buy-to-let property strategies, what I think the market's doing. I have just bumped into my one of my letting agents. I've just had a chat with her and just a general chat about property. Now I've just bumped in, like I said, I've just bumped into one of my letting agents, and she said, "Oh, they're really busy. They're literally rushed off their feet. Big demand for people renting houses." And I said to her, I said, "Oh, I bet you're not getting many new landlords because the house prices have gone up." And she's like, "No, they're not. They're not getting many new landlords. It's just existing landlords where the tenants are moving out and then they're letting them sort of straight away." And she was just telling me that one of the landlords from Grantham, and she was saying he's got about 30 houses that he paid sort of an average between sort of 3 and 5 grand for, which I guess which would have been back in about 1971, something like that, I reckon, between 3 and 5 grand. And so imagine that he's bought these houses for 3 or 5 grand, and then he's letting them for £450 a month. And like, God, that's some good business, isn't it? And it's like, you think about that and you think, oh, is property a good investment? And when somebody tells you a story like that, you think, my God, it is, isn't it? So other stuff, like yesterday I went to Cambridge, and I was amazed at, like, in the town centre and round about, the amount of money. I had a quick look around the shops and stuff like that, and the amount of money that people must have in Cambridge blew my mind. Like, I went into John Lewis's, and I was looking at the aftershave in John Lewis's, and they got some aftershave in there, which was Creed Aventus, which is an expensive niche brand aftershave, and a 100ml bottle is about 205 quid. And I was talking to the assistant, and she was going, "Oh yeah, we sell quite a lot of it. We sell quite a lot of bottles of it." So I reckon, it's like these property strategies. People say, "Oh, if you've got money to invest, go and buy a house in Liverpool or go and buy a house in Newcastle." I recently saw a video on YouTube where this guy, one of these sort of a regular YouTuber who does property related videos, bought this house in, I think it was up north, I think it was like, I don't know, like Lancashire or somewhere like that. And he bought this house, I think he paid 46 grand for it. And he was sort of, gave you a bit of a video tour, and he was sort of saying, oh, how good it was, blah, blah, blah. But it was one of these ex-council houses. To me, it looked like it was concrete construction. And as we all know, they've got asbestos. There's a lot of asbestos used in them. And I think like that, people can buy a cheap house, can't they? People can go, oh, well, I'll buy a cheap house up north or whatever. Oh, I bought this house for 46 grand. But I think capital appreciation, I bet you make no money. I bet in, 10 years time, you've probably made 10 grand, maybe. Probably not even that, because they don't tend to go up in value, all these sort of like cheap houses. From the last crash, they're still around the same price. And this takes me back to Cambridge. Now, I bet you if you went to Cambridge and you bought, let's say, a £400,000 house, and you would probably get, for that, you'd probably get a 2-bed or a 3-bed terrace house. You can get a lot of money, for a nice house in Cambridge. They're expensive. But I'll tell you what, I bet if you 400 grand a house, I bet you in 10 years, your house, I bet you guaranteed to be worth 600,000. I bet you make 200,000 if you've got the money, and if you can service the mortgage. I mean, it's fair enough if you've got the cash. It's fair enough, but I suppose if you need to put a mortgage on it, the rent. It's getting the rent, isn't it, to sort of cover the mortgage. By the way, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not recommending that you do this, but it's just, when I see all these videos of people buying all these cheap crap houses up north and in Liverpool and stuff like that, I just think, really, probably if you're an investor and you've got loads of money, you're probably better off. The people go, oh, buy a house in London, or they're buying a house in Cambridge. You're probably much better off doing that. Something else that I wanted to talk about is all these property strategies. You know, like people do this BRRR. You know, buy, refurbish, remortgage. All these property strategies people do, and they harp on about. And something that's dawned on me. I mean, this might sound crazy, but like leasehold flats. You know, what they're saying is if you buy a leasehold flat, and the lease is below sort of like 70 years, they're unmortgageable. Now, recently I saw a leasehold flat which was for sale, and I think the lease was down to, I think it had about 55 years to go, something like that, and it was really cheap. And I thought, you know, really, depending how old you are, if you want to buy a property and then all you want to do is to invest your money and it make you an income, which is what a lot of landlords do. That's what I tend to do. You know, you sort of buy a property, rent it out, and then live on the rent. Then why not buy a leasehold flat for cash that's not got a lot of lease left on it? I mean, you know, depending how old you are. Let's say if you're 50 and you buy a leasehold flat that's got 30 years on it, it's might see you out, mightn't it? You know, when you're 80, you think, well, take the thing, but it's like I know. You know, obviously when the lease runs out, then the property returns back to the leaseholder. But even with that, you know, you could still pass the property on to a child or whatever, and then it's up to them if they want to renew the lease or not. But you know, it's just an idea that I thought. You know, when I see these flats and they're really cheap, I think, why don't people do that? You know, I know you can't get a mortgage on them and your money's sort of locked away. But if you buy a flat that's not got a lot of lease on it, you know, say it's got 30 years, 40 years, depending how old you are, you've got that income until you die. As long as that's more than the asking price, you know, if the flat's cost you 30 grand, 40 grand, and you've got, you know, 30 years rent at, I don't know, 400, 500 pound a month. I mean, that's more than you're making money, aren't you? You know what I mean? Even if you don't get the property back. So this is just my short video, just an idea. All right, that's it for now. Thanks.